In a world where many people grew up without a father, it is very easy to find excuse for going astray. To me personally, when you are 18 and above, you are no longer an orphan, and you cannot keep crying over the absence of parents. Why? Because the power of rising above whatever challenge that you have lies in you. Hi, my name is Stella Luca, and I'm so passionate about family, relationship dynamics, and life lessons. And so today, I would like us to dive into narrative that we have as South Sudanese and any other country that has a similar context as ours. Is the absence of father figure really a good reason for having a bad behavior? I would like to bring this down to in my community, because they say charity begins at home. Yeah. So before we talk about other people, we need to look at ourselves to ensure that our country is up to speed. And it will not end now. Probably we might never see it as a generation, maybe 2 or 3 generations from now, when our nation will be rebuilt to a certain level. And to be honest, we have so many bad mothers, we have so many bad fathers out there, we have so many single parents, both fathers and mothers. We have a lot of issues. None of us is perfect. That is the truth. But I find this narrative a little bit lame when people blame bad behavior for being an orphan, for having no guidance from my father and all that kind of thing. I was listening to a young South Sudanese lady, and she was actually narrating how the absence of a father figure in her family impacted her own life and the life of her other siblings. I just couldn't find the original source of the video I would have shared. And she said she could not rest in her femininity because her mother shouldered the responsibility of a father, and she didn't display much of femininity. So this lady did not see how a lady is supposed to behave. So she became so independent, and she has a challenge right now living or believing or trusting a man. Likewise, her brothers also do not know how to embrace masculinity. It's true that the war deprived us of our fathers, deprived us of provision, deprived us of protection, deprived us of mental health. But I want to challenge that. To me personally, when you are 18 and above, you are no longer an orphan, and you cannot keep crying over the absence of parents for whatever mistake that you are making. Why? Because the power of rising above whatever challenge that you have lies in you. Yes, it's true that you might not have somebody that can pay your school fees. You might not have somebody that will guide you, but once you hit 18, we believe that you are an adult and you know what is right and what is wrong. By 18, at least you know that when you smoke, it will cause a problem for you. By 18, you know that if you live a wayward life, it will impact your life and the kind of a family, the standard of living that you will have. By 18, you already know that if you keep sleeping around, you get pregnant, and it is possible that the father of the child might deny the pregnancy, or you might even disorganize your own life. By the time you hit 18, you know that when you are in a relationship, or maybe when you are married, you cheat, it will cause problems. By 18, you should know that people have feelings and people have to respect. And if you do not know this thing, it is because of where you are. It is because of the friends you decided to keep around. It is because of you not putting effort and you not finding a solution believe me, if you have a plan and you put it down and you really put effort, you will get to where it is that you want to go. We have so many leaders, well-known leaders, famous leaders who grew up without fathers, but they became the best husbands, the best fathers that is known worldwide. One of them, everybody knows, is Obama. The previous president of the United States of America, he did not have a father. He was actually raised by family members. But he turned out to be what? A very good husband. He is throughout in the life of his wife. He's throughout in the life of his children, his 2 daughters. Yeah? So that is an example. I know of people, for privacy I will not mention here, who looked for a scholarship and studied in South Sudan. Please change that narrative from today. Work on yourself and stop running around with the narrative that I am the way I am just because I didn't have somebody to help me or to guide me. What did you do to get you to where it is that you want to be? Where is it actually you want to go? Also, another thing is the voices of those who are in our lives, our community. As Africans, we do not belong to one family. In fact, there is a saying that it takes a whole community to raise a child. That alone says a lot about an African child. An African child has an uncle. An African child has an auntie. An African child has grandparents, friends, and the community, the neighbors. An African child's life is shaped by the people around them. Yeah? For sure, even in my neighborhood right now, if my child walks out and misbehaves, that child will be disciplined even if I do not see. So it is possible that even the neighbors and the surrounding have tried to instill some discipline in you, but you refuse to listen. So because of our communal life as Africa, there is no way you can use the excuse of I didn't have parents, I didn't have a father. That is why I am the way I am. And this takes me now to our fathers, as South Sudanese fathers. I want you to know that you are not just a man. You are a leader. You are the director. You are the guide. You are everything to your family. I feel sorry when I hear my friends talking of how they have fathers or husbands who do not pay school fees, not because they don't have, but they decide to misplace their priorities. There are fathers, by the way, who would choose to buy a car, a lavish car here in South Sudan, instead of paying school fees. If you are there and you are listening to me, just know that whatever reason that you put across for your bad behavior is not carrying water, is not valid. The main problem, the reason why we have problems in the society is because of the likes of you. I feel so bad when somebody is doing something wrong and decide to blame it on alcohol. Decided to blame, look for any reason, an excuse to blame it for whatever bad behavior it is that they have. This month is dedicated to fathers. I know that as South Sudanese, probably, we do not really care about some of these things. We don't even know what they mean. But I call all the men, the youth, the boys, whoever that has the capacity to access social media platforms and is currently under my voice, wherever you are, review yourself. Call yourself to a meeting, sit down and evaluate your own life, your responsibility as a man, as a boyfriend, as a son, as a child in a community. What are those good things? How are you impacting the community, your own life, your surrounding? What are you doing? Yeah, that when something happens to you, if you die, for instance, God forbid, if you die, how do we remember you? Do we remember you as this father who was just drinking? Do we remember you as this father who did not really support his family? Do we remember you as this man who has terrorized all the women, who had 100 women and never catered for anyone? How do we remember you? This month, don't just go through it. Learn from it. Sit down. Check yourself what it is that you have done that is beneficial. If we call your wife or you call your children and we ask them to say something about you, how much of the positive things will they say and what are the negative things they would say? Definitely, as a human being, we are not perfect, but at least somebody should vouch for you even in your absence. So fathers, I call on you to learn something. There are so many people you can learn from. Use the social media platform to learn. There are so many male figures out there who are putting out mentorship program. Learn from them. Take advantage of that. If there is a male conference somewhere, register for it. And also those capable men who have the ability to host a men conference, those who feel like they have the skills, who are experienced enough to nurture the young ones, the right path for our youth, hold those conferences. I have two people in mind that I believe if you read their materials, if you listen to their podcasts, to their messages on YouTube, they will change your life. The first one is Dr. Monroe, who died in a plane crash. I will leave his detail below. If you do not know him, please click on the link and you'll get so many materials. Read his books. It will help you. Also, there is this family therapist and a mental health expert. He's American. He talks to the youth. He talks to men in general. But he will also leave his detail below. Look at his resources. Listen to him and improve yourselves. Gone are those days when we used to cry and say, it is because of this I am like this. It is because I lack. That is why I am a thief. It is because I didn't see how my father treated my mother, so I don't know how to handle a woman. You can do all that if you want to. It depends on what it is that you want. If you want to break that cycle, you have the power. So the concept of this video is to inspire and motivate, provide a narrative that acknowledges the difficulties that we have faced so far, while focusing on the potential for positive outcome and personal growth. I am Stella Luka. If you have liked my content, do not forget to drop your comments and share with other people. Let us embrace change, acknowledge our difficulties, but rise above it so that we can together nurture and rebuild our nation. Until then, bye-bye.